Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight, and welcome again to another Meaningful Monday. So, many of you have been here before, so welcome back. Anyone who's new, just to tell you, this is just really to raise awareness. It's a free webinar on the first Monday of every month, and it's just really helping people become more responsible for their own lives, more aware that they do create their own reality, and just to really step out of any kind of victim thinking, because that's when we are powerless, because we really are not victims at all in any way, shape or form. Whether we're aware of it or not, we do create our own reality. So just the more we consciously create, the better our life becomes. So tonight I thought I'd do something, a title might have misled you, so I hope that's not the case, but it says how to increase your net worth. So I know you've heard the saying before, I'm sure it's from someone else. Your net worth is your network. If you haven't heard it before, well, you're hearing it now. And it really is very true. So if you think about your life and everything that's ever happened to you to bring you where you are today, and all the good things that ever happened to you that gave you opportunities to shift your life to a better place, all really came because of another human being and a connection. So whether you knew the person, a friend of a friend, or someone trusted you and they referred you to someone that they trust, and through that kind of network or connection, you got an opportunity. So I wanted to talk about not the network side of things. And by the way, I'm not talking about networking tonight, so please don't leave the webinar, because I don't go to those events much myself. It's not about networking. It's just about the network that you have. We are all connected with a lot of people. And this is really about relationships and how to just improve our relationships and make sure that we are maintaining the level of influence that's positive and ethical that we want in our lives. I'm not talking about any kind of unethical anything. I'm talking about ethical influence. I'm talking about trust. I'm talking about adding value to people and broadening your reach in terms of who can help you, who you can connect with because of how you interact with people. So let's dive in. This is really like a kind of a workshop. I'll give you some tips. They're very basic, but many of us maybe forgot them. And I'm going to ask you some questions as well. So make sure you got a journal or a notebook handy. And I just want to ask you from the bottom of your own heart, not mine, answer the questions best you can, honestly for yourself, and really dig deep. Some of the questions aren't easy. I didn't even find that, I could answer them quickly. So just think really deeply. It will help you. It will shift something for you. All right. So basically, when I talk about how to increase your net worth, it's only possible through people and connections. So it says building and nurturing connections can open doors to new opportunities for you that you never even knew existed. And I want you to see your whole life as different corridors and doors everywhere, and they're just actually all the people that we know. So, excuse me, just a quick question. Anyone can type in the chat, unmute your mic, give me your answer. Why is your network important? Anyone? Don't be shy. Any answer will do.
Energy. It's producing more than you can do yourself. 1 plus 1 is 1. Sometimes even 3.
Absolutely. So you're talking about synergy.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent, Richard. Perfectly said. Well said. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. One conversation, one introduction, or one shared advice can literally change everything in your life. I can speak from our own experience and say there have been many times, I can mention so many, where one conversation completely changed the direction of my life, and the blessings and the gifts that I have today are really because of other people that have either done something for me, sacrificed for me, gone before me, recommended me, trusted me. And I think it's the same for you. So your network's very important, because anything you're trying to achieve in your life, or even just better, can only come from, like, we can't do everything. We do need other people. And the better relationships we have, the better we do. So what makes a good network? Well, a good network is actually diverse people. It's not getting everyone to be exactly the same as you. That doesn't really work. And I'm busy going through a mastermind at the moment, leading a group of people. Simalelo is here. He's one of them. To this book called High Road Leadership by John Maxwell. And John Maxwell even says he has to force himself to actually read books. He's in personal development. He's the leadership author of the world. He actually reads books that are conflicting to his own belief systems. But he forces himself to read at least 1 or 2 books, minimum a year, that are completely opposite to his own beliefs and way of thinking. He says if he doesn't do that, his world was going to get smaller and smaller, and you also develop less empathy and compassion for people. So you must have diverse groups. Don't try and make everyone exactly the same as you, because you can learn from everyone. They must also be supportive, and they must be growth orientated. Definitely growth orientated, because if they're growing, I promise you they'll influence your life and it'll help you grow. So I just have a question here. It says, can strong networks lead to financial growth? Well, you don't have to be a genius, because the title of my webinar gave it away. And the answer is absolutely, definitely yes. So I just found this actual research statistic that says referrals are 70% more likely to be successful. That is enormous. Like, how much more likely to be successful in whatever your outcome is meant to be, because someone actually referred you. And that's the value of trust. When you're a trustworthy person and you've got a network of people and you've built those relationships over a lifetime. So people who have, like John Maxwell was talking in the one chapter, I just keep referring to this book because it's brilliant. He talks about maturity. He says people who keep changing their friends, keep changing their networks, keep changing their social circles, they're like immature. They haven't matured up yet. When we mature, we're able to grow and develop relationships well. We become very solid and magnetic in our ability to attract good quality people around us that actually want to stay connected with us. And this is what I'm talking about. It's not amazing just to meet amazing people, but what if you could meet amazing people and they want to stay connected with you? Would you like that? That they would actually like to be in contact with you? If you'd like that, then this is what the webinar is about. I'm going to be talking about people skills here to grow your network and your relationships. So, reflective question. Please write the answer down. Don't think it in your head, but actually write it down. The question is, when you think of the last relationship or connection that didn't go well, what part of that did you bring into the interaction that you would love to improve? So, like, what part did you play? Anything. If you had an argument with someone or you stopped talking to someone, it doesn't matter if it's now or 10 years ago. Just think of a relationship or a connection that didn't go well. What part did you play in that interaction that you would actually love to improve? Just come up with one thing. What's one thing that you could improve? I can say for myself, not once, multiple times, conversations landed up in an argument and the person was very unhappy. And what was the reason that I could improve? I could have listened better. I could have listened without trying to fix the person or formulate the response to, like, alleviate their burden. Sometimes a person doesn't want that. They just want to be heard. They just want to let it all out and know that someone's there to just sit with them, feel with them, and have compassion. So I don't know, it can be a big thing, it can be a small thing, but do write something down. What would you like to improve in an interaction? Because the more self-aware you become, the better you become at good quality relationships. All right, I'm going to continue, but make sure that you did write something for yourself, even if you wrote something simple, but just, it's a good question to think about. So I'm going to just talk about a little bit of people skills here. I've referred to a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People that everybody's probably heard about. It's one of the best-selling books on personal development and human interaction in the world. Everyone's chat is turned off. How is that? Someone told me this last time. Okay, how about that? Just try again, Richard. Okay, is it fixed now? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yep.
Says yes. All right, great. So you can continue on the chat. So this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I'm sure you've heard of it. I really doubt anyone hasn't, but just in case someone hasn't, this book is so old. Dale Carnegie, I think, passed on in the middle of the 19th century. So it's not like so recent. It's a book that's been around. Oh, Richard's got a copy. Well done. So I'm going to give you top of the waves. They're very simple things. You can make notes or you can listen to the recording afterwards, but very simple things. So this is Handling People 101, 3 simple steps on how to handle people well. You may know this, you may be reminded, I don't know, but I hope it helps you. So one of the things that says, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. And think about interactions with people and what gathering the honey means for you and what you actually could get out of an interaction with another human being. If it was honey, you're not going to go and kick that beehive. So the 3 C's that he talks about are criticism. Don't criticize, condemn, and complain. Now, he's not only talking about criticizing in general, like, oh, the weather's terrible, or the traffic, or you're complaining, or you criticize, I don't know, the media, the government, something. He's actually talking about never, ever, ever criticize another person whilst you're interacting with them. So there's a way to tell anyone anything, but we don't just criticize, like, you didn't do this well or anything like that. And complain to a person without doing it in a nice way, that you maintain rapport. You can complain. I always say this, even when you go to restaurants and you get bad service. I always say you must say something. In other words, you must complain. However, you must do it as nicely as possible. So remember, just as an example, if you are in a restaurant, the person you're going to complain to actually probably never cooked the food. So be very gentle with them, because they're not the person who's actually accountable, but they're someone that you can talk to help you. So always do it, but do it in the nicest way. The next one is the big secret in dealing with people. What's the big secret? Well, it's to start off, or when you get to meet with someone, that you give them honest and sincere appreciation. There is nothing more off-putting than insincere, fake flattery. Don't do it. Please never do it. Look for something that you really do appreciate in a person. Doesn't matter what that thing is. And tell the person. So this is what we're saying. You actually say it out loud. But you say it with your heart. So don't try to come from your head. Actually drop into your heart. And say, thank you. It's so nice to see you again. I really appreciate you making the time for me. I don't know, whatever it is, but give honest and sincere appreciation. The third thing in handling people is, it says, he who can do this has the whole world with him. He who doesn't walks a lonely way. And what's this thing? Well, it says arouse in the other person an eager want. So please understand, this is not in you. You'd love to get an eager want. We all would. This is about actually being intentional that the other person you're speaking to has got the eager want. And I'm just going to refer to the notes here and tell you what it says. So a key principle is to talk in terms of what the other person wants, to see things the way that they see them. So in other words, when you go fishing, you don't put strawberries and cream on the hook. What does a fish eat? A fish eats a worm. So you put the right thing on the other end. So, always think of what it is that the other person desires, what the other person wants, what they're interested in. And instead of talking in terms of what you want, always talk in terms of what the other listener wants. And that really just makes a better connection, and that person will walk away thinking they had the best conversation with you, but it's actually you just being intentional about doing it for them. So whatever their topic is, whatever they are in their life right now, get really curious. That's the truth, and do it that way. Now I'm just going to talk about 6 ways to make people like you. And I'm not saying this to try to manipulate anyone. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying to try to be as personable as possible, that you always have and maintain good relationships. Yeah, walk a mile in the other person's shoes. Thank you, Richard. That's from the previous slide. Talk in terms and ego, what they want. Yeah, put yourself in their shoes, see the world through their eyes, and become really curious more and more. And, make them eager to want to share with you and talk with you, because you really are, in a heartfelt way, interested in them. Okay, now I'm going to talk about 6 ways to make people like you. This is very brief. I'm not going to go very deep into this. Let me just shift my screen around. Hold on. So it says, do this and you'll be welcomed anywhere. Become genuinely interested in other people. So greet people with authentic enthusiasm. I just want you to think about coming home. If any of you own a dog, or you know anyone who owns a lovely dog, a wonderful dog, why we love dogs so much is because every time we see them, even if it's 5 minutes ago, they are so enthusiastic and happy to see us. And if we could learn from dogs and be like that, we would have so many friends. Because when they see, they're so enthusiastic. There's nothing worse than, look at Richard's dog. Oh, my baby is so cute. Steffi, I love him. So think about showing up to someone, whether you've seen them 5 minutes ago or you've seen them 5 years ago. Put a smile on your face. Say hi. How are you? It's good to see you. And if it's not natural for you, I'm going to ask you to get out of your comfort zone and make a little bit of an effort until it becomes something more natural for you. Everybody wants to be greeted with enthusiasm. I'm telling you, I sure do. So everyone else does. So you be the one. Like they say, you be the flame that lights the candles. I love that saying. The next thing, a simple way to make a good first impression, it's really simple. Smile. Smile is just more than a smile on your dial. It's actually a message of goodwill. Let me see if I can find the note that I put in here. A cheerful smile. Actions speak louder than words. And a smile says, hey, I like you and I'm glad to see you. Who wouldn't want that? So it says people rarely succeed at anything unless they have fun doing it. The effect of a smile is powerful, even when it's unseen, like over the phone. I remember that in a course I did years ago where the person said, doesn't matter you're on a phone, put a smile on your face. So come with happy cheer and lighting other candles to dim yours. Thank you. The next thing is, if you don't do this, you're heading for trouble. And what is it? Remember and use the other person's name. Dale Carnegie in that book says that the best sound in a person's universe is the sound of their own name. So when you talk to a person, use their name. Hey, Ruby, I see you smiling at that. See, just used your name. And she liked it. Look, she's smiling even more. And Richard, when he comments, he gets a happy look on his face. So we love the sound of our own name. It's the best sound. It's the best word in the whole vocabulary of the universe. So give that to someone and remember their name as best you can. So if you're not good at remembering names, or you think you're not good at remembering names, make it a personal challenge to become excellent at remembering people's names. I don't know what technique you use. They're resilient. I'm not going to go into that tonight. That's not why we're here. But do anything that you need to do. Look it up, Google it, and try to remember people's names and then use it. And the best way to remember a person's name is to actually use it and say, hey, Richard, it's nice to have met you. And I say Richard again, and after 3 times, I remember the person's name is Richard. So that's how you do it. Okay. An easy way to become a good conversationalist is to be a good listener. So I don't know what you find with the youth today, but children are naturally selfish. Every one of them is just comes into the world. I included. Everybody when we were kids, we like that. So we kind of have to learn social skills and kind of conversational etiquette. But if we can learn to think this was a great conversation, we would think, because we got to share so much and to talk so much. Well, this is where self-awareness comes in. We need to be self-aware that we actually let the other person talk. I went to an event many years ago. This is 2012, 2013. I'll never forget. And the guy gave us a toy. Like I've got a little squeezy thing over here, if you can see me. And we had to throw this back at the other person the minute we got it. So you could only talk if you holding it. So the person would say, they would, like, I would pretend that I'm the one who's trying to be better at communication, and now I'm with a new person. So I'd say, let's say it's Ruby. I say, hi, Ruby, how are you? And I'd throw Ruby this thing. Once she's got it, she'll say, oh, I'm doing great. And she'll say, so what you been up to lately? The minute I get it, I must get rid of it as quickly as possible. So I say, I've been running a few courses, but tell me about you. Give it back. The business, oh, no, I've been to Hawaii. And they actually led us up by giving us imaginary scenarios. And the one paper said, you've been to Hawaii on a 3-week holiday, but the other person didn't know. So when you throw the ball back at them, and they said, they were meant to tell you, I've just come back from Hawaii. I went there with my family for a 2-week holiday. And they actually tested to see if you'd take the ball back and say, I also went to Hawaii. And they said you must actually exercise enough self-control to not do that and ask them a question. Say, oh, wonderful. So how was your holiday in Hawaii? The person tells you something. You ask another question. Anyway, the point I want to make is the goal was to hold the ball, the talking ball, as little as possible and they timed us. They didn't tell us this is what they were doing. And then they rated us on communication skills. So it says there, to be a good conversationalist, be a good listener and let them talk. So this is quite opposite if you think of children. They just want to talk, and they want to keep talking, and you must keep listening to them. And if you start talking, they don't like it, they want to talk. So here we are, we're not kids, we are mature adults. But that's a very simple thing to become great at relationships. The next thing, how to interest people. Well, we spoke about it already. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. Absolutely. So if it's got no interest of you at all, let's say something that doesn't interest you. I'm trying to think of something in my own example. I'm not really coming up with anything, but maybe I'm not interested in, I don't know. Let's say how a librarian files their books. That really wouldn't interest me. But I would make an effort and ask the person, which I am curious about, what made them go into that occupation? And what do they like most about what they do? And what part don't they like? And Richard said, love the phrase, seek to understand before attempting to be understood. Yes, that comes from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Seek to understand. Yep, so get interested in the other person. And the 6th one is how to make people like you instantly. Well, again, do not fake it. Do not be insincere or inauthentic. Be sincere. Be genuine. But make the other person feel important. My mother has a natural skill of doing this. She can meet a stranger. She can meet someone for 5 minutes. She can meet the guy who makes the coffee in a coffee shop that she never goes to, like once ever. And in that little interaction, or the cashier in a Pick and Pay, she's in South Africa, checking out of a supermarket, the cashier makes them feel important. The smallest thing. And really, it doesn't take a lot. It just takes a presence and look the person genuinely in the eye and say something. Like, I don't know, you made my day, or how are things going? When they answer you, just say something positive, uplift them. But say something that makes them feel seen. And if they say anything that you resonate with, I don't know, give them a high five, be fun, be enthusiastic, be happy, and let the person know that you saw them and you actually noticed them. And I know this sounds like, oh, I'm doing this for who? Like for what? For a barista. You're doing it for everyone. It's not what you do. It's not. It's who you become. So don't think about this is a task and I've got to do this and do that. It's not about doing. It's about becoming a better human being. All these things here is not for trickery or anything. It's to be a nicer person, a better human being always, not just for a purpose or to get something, always. And then your relationships will become rich. Your life will become rich, and you will just be happier. And you'll also feel more generous. Because when you give people a listening ear and you give them a compliment and you're enthusiastic and you're showing them love and care, you're going to feel better because you make another person feel better. And if you do that every day, you'll live a significant life because no one else is really doing this enough. So if you're the one who's doing it, you're the light, so to speak. Be the light. So here's a reflective question. So take a pen and write the answer. It says, which of these 6 ways do you personally find hardest? And what does that difficulty reveal about how you feel about yourself? So which one is the one you find most difficult? And what does it tell you about yourself? I'll put them back on the screen without the subheadings. Which one do you think you could be better at? So just to tell you, John Maxwell in his High Road Leadership book, which is his newest book, by the way, which I recommend for anyone, High Road Leadership. Many people don't take the high road. Ruby's also in the mastermind. Thanks, Ruby. He says that when he was young, he used to talk a lot, and he's one of the world's best speakers, so he gets paid to talk. So that's his skill, and he loves doing it. So he realized he wasn't a good listener. So if you look at point number 4, be a good listener. John Maxwell said he used to go into meetings, and on the top right-hand corner of the page that he's going to write his notes on, he used to put a big L in a circle and put his thumb right there, and sit there to keep reminding himself, L for listen, to keep quiet and listen and let people talk. Because if he was in his natural comfort zone, he would be leading the conversation, he'd be talking. Can you put the book title in the chat? Sure. Let me just get there. Okay, it's High Road Leadership by John C. Maxwell. All right, now I'm going to jump to, okay, before we jump anywhere, here's a quote. It says, it is the individual who is not interested in his fellow men who has the greatest difficulties in life and provides the greatest injury to others. It is from among such individuals that all human failures spring. So this is such an important quote. It's so telling. It's so important. It's so meaningful because it's just people who are not self-aware or selfish and oh, what have I done? Sorry. Did I just unshare the screen? Apologies. I can't see anyone now. This happened to me last week. Sorry, guys. I don't know where my Zoom controls are and where I can see your screen, someone says, all right. I can't. So I can only see, I'm just going to start again. Sorry, I'm just going to unshare and share because all your faces went away. Apologies. Okay. I just have to share from here again. Okay. So this is such a true quote. I just wanted to really share it tonight to say that people who are not interested in other people, they do have a difficult life. So I just wanted to share that with you. And then most people are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. So some people, when they say, oh, I'm just not like that, I'm just not such a happy, joyful person. Because it's asking you, what we're asking is for you to come. You come with the joy. You come with the enthusiasm. You are the energy that is brought to the engagement with another person, and you will have amazing relationships. Some people arrive in an interaction hoping to get someone to lift them up. Well, how about you decide that wherever you go, in your family, at home where you live, your family as in your relatives, your in-laws, in your workplace, your friendships, that you're the one. You just decide that you're going to be the one that comes with the energy of joy, enthusiasm, inspiration. And, the best compliment you can ever get, the best compliment is when people leave and they say, I really, really enjoyed spending time with you. I feel so much better. Because that means in that interaction, you raise their vibration. You were at a higher vibration than them, and you maintained it, and through that you actually raised theirs. That's the best gift you could give any human being. Okay, now I'm going to go through 12 points here. How to win people to your way of thinking. So you want better relationships? Well, look at this expression on this guy's face. How often do we sit, whether it's in families or with friends or with people at work, and we just don't agree with the damn thing they're saying? We really don't. We like on the other side of the spectrum. Now, they are there and we are here. They don't agree with us. They don't believe what we believe. Well, how do you actually get them onto your way of thinking? This is a really important 12 points I'm going to make. So I hope this does help you. The first one is you can't win an argument. Because if you're adamant in winning an argument, you're either going to lose rapport with that person because they're going to feel like they lost and they won't like it, so you'll lose rapport, or you will actually lose the relationship. So when someone doesn't agree with you, please, it's not personal. It's nothing to do with you. There's not a personal judgment on you. The best thing you can do is become curious or say thank you. Wow, I never thought of it that way. Or geez, I've never looked at it from that perspective. Thank them. Don't try to win an argument and convince them. You can't win an argument. You'll lose the relationship if you're just adamant on winning. It's more important to maintain the relationship than it is to win an argument. A sure way to make enemies. Let me just refer to my notes here. Is to show disrespect. So if you want to go out of your way to make enemies, go around pointing out to other people their mistakes. It's the only way guaranteed to make enemies consistently. Don't forget, you can tell people you think they are wrong by your actions as surely as by your words. This will never change their minds. It will only make them want to get even with you for being such a smart aleck. It's much more fun to prove something without anyone even being aware that you're doing it. So this requires judgment and being subtle. So try to use phrases like, look, I honestly thought otherwise, but I may be wrong. And I frequently am wrong. Then you admit it. And if I'm wrong, I do want to be put right. So let's examine the facts. So no one gets offended when they're treated in that kind of manner. Or maybe I haven't understood this properly. So you give the person the benefit of the doubt and you say it in those terms. Also, so just remember, the other person might not want to change their mind about anything. So telling people they are wrong simply strips that person of their self-dignity and makes you an unwelcome intrusion in their lives. So always maintain respect. And the best thing to do, I use the word disrespect to summarize all that, because the best thing you can do is to say, wow, that's so different to the way I look at things, but I respect your opinion. If you respect someone's opinion, then you can agree to disagree and respectfully. But when we do it disrespectfully, say, I don't know what you're talking about. If I just said that, I'm sure all of you just felt an energy shift there. It's the worst words you can hear. So do your best to never let someone feel that way. The next one. If you're wrong, admit it quickly, admit it definitively, and admit it openly. I love that, and I practice that, and I don't have any problem being wrong. I really don't, and I'm the first to admit it. And when I'm wrong, I want to open. Now, that's just everyday interaction here and there. But let's say it's a more important scenario. Let's say it's amongst a whole team at work, and maybe there's 15 people in the room, and you were wrong. Maybe you were wrong yesterday. Maybe it's not that minute. The best thing you can do is to stand up and fess up and admit you were wrong. If you made a mistake, say so. If you need to apologize for anything, apologize. Always do that. It earns enormous amount of respect, and people realize you human just like them, and because you can share your humanness and you're authentic in sharing your humanness, they are drawn to you like a magnet, because they see a quality in you that they might be hiding or have done in the past in themselves. So you give people permission to be more authentic too. So always admit if you're wrong and do it quickly. Next thing, a drop of honey. Well, when you don't agree with someone and you're having a disagreement, always be friendly, not stormy. I mean, I can learn from this. I'm Italian. I've got a little bit of a fiery temper. And as a kid, we used to have screaming arguments, myself and my brother and whoever. So I can get like that if I'm not self-aware. So over the years, it's something that I practice. So when I'm really disagreeing with someone, I need to remember that how I handle it is I handle it kindly, calmly, and in a friendly manner. Never get stormy with the person. The Next Conversation by Jefferson Fisher is what Christine says is a great book explaining about the problem with winning arguments. Thank you for that. If you want to add anything there, you're welcome, Christine. But yeah, to win an argument because you have to win, you really do lose a relationship, and you can actually lose a very good friend. You could even lose a partner. If you got to live with someone like that, let me just tell you, I don't know about you, but I could not. I could not live with a person like that. So just think, never be that person who offsides people continuously. Do everything, even if you don't agree. It's fine not to agree. Also fiery nature, thanks. Okay, number 5. Find common ground. I'm going to refer to notes because they're pretty good here. It says, don't begin arguments by discussing your differences. Start with common ground. So kind of get a person to say yes before you have your differences. Like, so are we trying to get here? Is this our goal? Yes. Are you agreeing that we both want to make it easy for so-and-so? Yes. Okay, you've got 2 yeses. Now you're on the right path. You've already found some common ground. Can you just hear, just from saying that, you feel a bit of rapport? So when I say, all right, well, I don't really, I'm not really wanting to do that, and I know you do, so let's try and find some common ground. That's already saying, I want to build a bridge with you, and I want to maintain connection, because that's what a bridge is. Just in speaking in those terms, you make it easier. So he who treads softly goes far is a Chinese proverb. All right, the next one. The safety valve when handling complaints. Now, there's nothing more important than this. When someone is upset, if someone is complaining, the best thing you can do is keep your mouth shut and actively listen. Don't stare into space and hope they end. Look in their face. Be empathetic. Be sympathetic. And listen. Just listen. When they come to a pause, say nothing. They'll go on again. Then they're going to run out of steam and they're going to come to a pause. Maybe say, I hear you. They're going to go on again. So if you try to, on their first pause, respond, you're going to make it worse. If you try on the second pause to respond, you're going to make it worse. Just listen. And maybe after they've run out of steam and you give them more time to go on with sharing more, maybe a good question is, what would you like to see happen in this moment? Like, draw more out. Don't try to correct them or fix them. And I was in the catering industry in my very first life when I finished school. And I was there for 5 years. And in the food industry, you get people complain regularly. And then I was working in retail for Pick n Pay in South Africa. And at some point, obviously, no matter where you work, you're going to deal with customer complaints. You'll probably deal with them every day. And in our training there, this was what we had to go through, actual training. It was like, we have to train people to just listen. So I'm sharing that here. Always keep in the back of your mind, when someone's complaining, even if it's your husband, your wife, your child, don't stop them and tell them, just stop, hold on, I want to tell you what's really happening here. Just keep your mouth closed, breathe, be patient, and let them get it all out. And maybe paraphrase it. So you're really unhappy that this happened today. You sound like you're really upset about that. Paraphrase, share it back, actively listen until everything's out. Okay, all good. Thank you very much, Richard. it's recorded anyway, and you'll get it if you're on the mailing list. Thank you. All right, now we're going to the next 6. The winning formula. See it from their perspective. This is what we're talking about, jump into another person's shoes. Try and see something from their perspective. It's not easy, guys. When you disagree with someone, it's not easy. If you even think about what we went through in COVID, people had different opinions on things. Do your best to actually be curious and see things from their perspective and maybe ask some questions. Let me just see what it says here in my notes. Yeah, the key to another person's action and personality lies in looking at things from his perspective. If you can cultivate this skill, then we know exactly how to best deal with them, how to maintain rapport with them, even maintain influence with them, not influence in an unethical way, but in an ethical way. Like we lead people, we do influence each other. That's what we do all day long. And, ask, how would I react if I were in their shoes? Excellent question. So look at it from the other person's viewpoint. The next one, what everybody wants, be sympathetic to their ideas and their goals. Yep, you don't have to agree with them, but you can be sympathetic. You can tell them, that sounds like a really important goal for you. Why is that so important for you? Just get curious and stay curious. The next thing, appeal to people's nobler motives. This is a really good thing to do. Is like you'll say, look, I know you always see the best in people, and then you finish your sentence. Or I know that you will absolutely understand this because you care about your team. You said care about your team. That's a nobler motive. If you said, look, I know you want the best for the kids, to your partner. That's again nobler motives. You're always appealing to their nobler motives, not their bad side, their higher side. And then you finish your sentence. And you also make people show up the best version of themselves. If you try it with kids, it works. Like if you say to a kid, you smart, how would you fix this problem? You'll elicit smart thinking. If you just tell a kid, do this, do that, I don't know where it'll go. But if you did appeal to their nobler motive, whatever it may be, you'll elicit the best from them. The next thing is when you don't agree with someone and you're at the other end. So John Maxwell, again, I refer to High Road Leadership. He talks about when Black Lives Matter happened in America, why there were so many protesters. And he never understood why so many people were protesting. He just didn't understand it. Then he found another group of people who were against the protesters. So here we have people protesting, and here we have people against the protesters. And John Maxwell really just didn't understand. And he felt that he couldn't connect. And if he tried to give his opinion that he thought all the protesting, all the people against the protest were both ridiculous, he knew he would have lost rapport with people. So deliberately and intentionally, he got curious. And he asked people to tell their story. How come you like, what makes you against this thing? And they spoke. And then he'd say, well, what led you to that? And was it always this way for you? And where did that idea begin? And basically, it was through storytelling that he got to understand the other person in a deeper way. And then, of course, he shared it with the other group who was against the protesting. And then someone even had a book or two. He read those books about how, Black people grew up, the actual stories, and spoke to many Black people who were very upset. And he said when he did that, he developed so much compassion, empathy, sympathy, understanding, ability to relate. It changed him totally. So storytelling does connect people. So if you're trying to connect with someone and they're just not getting on your page, share a story. Use your imagination. Get the details. Because when you share a story and how that made you feel, a person can relate. Even if they don't agree, it doesn't matter, but they can relate. So what you're doing is you're maintaining connection. The next one, to get them on board, give them a challenge. Always, like, if nothing else works, try give them a challenge. Is to get people to cooperate with you, appeal to their desire to excel. their desire to feel important. Throw down a challenge that they can't resist. So it's like stimulate competition. Not bad competition, but a good one. Yeah. That's it. You can come up with whichever one you want, but maybe say to them, look, I challenge you. Why don't you just try this? Or give it 2 days and see if this changes for you or whatever. Give them a challenge. I know people I've met, if I just talk about the silver method, who just have never meditated in their life. They think it's all just too much woo-woo. They're too practical. They prefer writing action lists, and they're stressed and they are not succeeding well. And I can tell this person needs to meditate. Okay, and that's my perception. I could be wrong, but that's mine. But when I get nowhere and they're not really interested, then I'll just say, look, I'll give you a challenge. Are you willing to just give it a go just for 7 days? That's it. I won't ask you anything after that, but are you willing to just give it a 7-day challenge? The person you will usually say yes. And then I'll say, try this short meditation and just promise me you'll do it every day. And I just want you to contact me on day 7 and tell me if you feel any different. And generally the person does it and they try. So that's another way of doing it. It's fun. It's like a challenge, bit of competition, and you're not forcing anything or disagreeing with anyone, but you're bringing them on board. Okay, here's a reflection question. Just what emotional trigger or insecurity shows up for you most often when you're disagreeing with someone? So think of the last time you had an argument or disagreement. What upset you? What triggered you? Like, they don't respect me, or what insecurity? I have a fear that they'll leave me, or I feel like they don't care, or I was really upset when this thing happened because I don't feel I'm important enough. People don't admit these things, but they're triggers. So this is your own journaling, so be honest with yourself and see if you can find an emotional trigger or insecurity. Because the more you ask this question, especially every time you have a disagreement with someone, try to go back and work out what got you into the bad conversation level. What insecurity, what emotional trigger, because it helps you learn about yourself. And most of the time, it's actually nothing to do with that person. We can go and find that wounded part of ourselves, our own inner child wound. And if we heal that, these things won't land up in bad relationships anymore. So if I can give you an example, let's say someone's jealous or they feel uncomfortable with their partner visiting this person, or I don't know, whatever it is. Well, it's not actually the current scenario. It's triggering a fear inside the person, maybe going back years ago, or they fear that there's something that they don't have, that this other friend's got, or that they can't maintain, that this other person's got. But if you loved yourself and you were feeling a better level of self-worth and more self-secure, people can do whatever they want. Even if it means, like what used to make you jealous, like what if they like that person more than me? Even that, it won't even trigger you, because if they actually want to walk off in the sunset with that person, you'll probably say, good thing they did it now. And not, oh my God, what if they leave me? That's full of fear. So we do need to always remember our triggers are never the other person's behavior. I know this sounds a bit big and it may be not nice to hear, but when we triggered emotionally, it's because we have an unhealed part of us, which is most often our inner child, and most often comes from a very young age. So if you've got a rejection or abandonment wound, we all have them to some degree, but let's say yours is really particularly bad, or somebody, not you. Let's say someone texts you and you text them and they don't reply for 2 hours or 3 hours. If that really, really upsets you badly, then it's triggering something in you. You were rejected here. You were forgotten. You were abandoned. You don't feel important. One of those is the thing. So if you don't feel you're important enough, well, how can you go and heal that? It always comes back to your own self-love. If you make yourself an important priority in your own life and really love yourself, people can answer you 3 days later. It won't change anything, never mind 3 hours. So whenever we're triggered, just to remember, we have work to do. So I've got your unhealed emotional patterns, damaged conversations, and opportunities. So we're coming back to how to increase your net worth. Well, these things might sound so inconsequential and small, but they're not small. Because if we can become self-aware and better at every single relationship, even with people we don't like, we are leaders. We are valuable. We are the light. We are the best energy in the room if we can do that. But we do need to not be triggered, to not get upset by small things, not feel insecure. And the only way to get there is for us to do our own healing ourselves so that we are more mature. And what I mean by mature is not age, because you can be 12 years old and mature, and you can be 70 and immature. Maturity is more to do with how you handle emotions, how you show up when things are really difficult, when people are all losing their heads. How do you show up? And when we can heal those emotional wounds, then we have better conversations and better opportunities. So I just want to journal this question. It says, if your ability to build powerful, healthy relationships depended 100% on how much you truly love and value yourself, what would need to heal or shift in you? So I'll say it again. If your ability to build powerful, healthy relationships depended 100% on how much you truly loved yourself, how much you truly valued yourself, my question is, what would need to heal or shift in you? Where's your weakness? Where's the weakest link? Where are you sensitive? Where does it always break down when there's something going on? Where do you lose it? What's a typical pattern? Every time you fight, what's the pattern? What's the typical scenario? What's the typical feeling that you feel inside? I'm not important, I'm not respected, something like that. I don't know what it is. So try to work that out. Once you know that and you can identify it, my friends, you're halfway there. Just identifying it. You make leaps and bounds. Then you just take that feeling, close your eyes, and surf back on your timeline and see what memory you bump into. Maybe you bump into more than one. Try and go back to the earliest memory you bump into of that feeling. That's, by the way, what we do in rapid results coaching when we release any intense emotion that we can't shift. In rapid results, we have to find the memory and then we transform it into the very opposite. We transform it into value. A very negative thing becomes a valuable thing, and it's transformed and it's gone. Because once you heal, so if you don't even do rapid results, I'm talking about any scenario, once you heal it or keep working on it, every time it shows up, it'll be less and less and less and less. It'll diminish over time. And then you're just a lovely person to get on with. Everyone will be drawn to you like moths to a light, because you embody a sense of calm and steadiness about you, where if you love yourself enough, you have the ability to love others. That's what unconditional love is. And I know it's a big thing to say, unconditional love, but really, if we could work on that as an ideal goal in our lifetime, how can we love people unconditionally? How can we love people without having to change them? I mean, I challenge myself with this every time I get upset about something. Could I practice unconditional love here? And what part of me is wounded? Because that makes us better in every way. So here's a question. What opportunities, connections, or relationships do you think you've missed? Not because you lacked any skill, but because you didn't feel confident, worthy, or emotionally strong enough in the moment. So if I think of myself, I've missed opportunities if I've never felt maybe confident or worthy to make a decision or go for something that I really wanted to do, but maybe I didn't love myself enough. So I didn't feel worthy. So I didn't invest in it, or I didn't take that step, or didn't talk to that person, or didn't feel emotionally strong enough. Think, oh, I'd love to do that, but maybe I won't be able to deal with it. So we back out. But this is where we grow. So I want you to answer that question, write something down, even if it's one thing. What opportunity or connection or relationship have you potentially missed just because you didn't feel strong enough inside in any way? And just to remind you, your success is determined by your confidence and self-worth. So at the end of the day, it comes back to us. We want a better network of relationships, which definitely leads to a greater net worth. There's no doubt about it. It is about net worth. There's no doubt about it. It comes from the people and the relationships in your life and how you interact with all of them. And it's determined by your self-confidence. So we do need to work on our self-confidence, which we can. If you've done the Silver Method, you can easily do Mirror of the Mind and see yourself confident. And just after 2 or 3 times, you will behave more confidently. If you don't do the Silver Method or you've never done it, you can visualize yourself more confident. But I'll tell you how to get confidence. The best way to get confidence, now listen nicely because this is an important thing and it's very good to teach your kids, is to make good choices and show up for yourself. Because when you do that, you get more self-confidence. Let's just say you're trying to start a business, but you're taking no action. And you decide, today is the day I'm going to do just this one step that I've procrastinated on for the last week. I'm going to do this one thing and it'll definitely be done before lunchtime today. And you actually do it. And you do it again tomorrow, a similar thing, and again the next day. That, my friends, is one of the best ways to build your self-confidence because it's a you and you deal and it's showing up for you. If you want people in your life to show up for you, you firstly need to show up for yourself because your life is a mirror and people reflect back at you who you are inside. So everything, that's why the greatest wisdom of all is know thyself. When we find our own wounds and we heal those, the relationships around us all change. So you've got difficult relationships or difficult people, forget about trying to change anyone. That's not your goal. And it's not what you're meant to do and it's not going to work. Don't try to change people. It'll never work. The only person you need to change is yourself. So I love that. And self-worth is the other one. Work on your self-worth. That's self-love, self-worth. And that's probably the one reason why both Nancy and I are so passionate about love yourself, heal your life. I always say, everybody on the planet needs to do 10 heal your lives just to get started. And I mean it. And you can do it with whoever. I'm not saying you have to do it with me, but we do create a lovely environment. I will say that with confidence. Nancy and I go to great lengths to give an atmosphere of unconditional love in that room and non-judgmental awareness and really hold to that strictly for the 2 days. So everyone just feels embodied in a container of non-judgment and unconditional love, because in that environment people can heal. But we do say that everyone needs to do 10 healer lives just to get started. And because of my own life, how much my life changed when I did it. And it comes back to all these things we're talking about. Healing your inner child wounds, getting more self-worth, getting rid of negative self-image, getting rid of negative self-talk, understanding where your inner child wounds came from, and just healing them. And people think, oh, it's a big scary thing. It's not. It's a gentle program. It only meets you exactly where you're at. And there's no doubt about it. It will change your life. And I would never say that. I never said that before, actually, until I did Heal Your Life. And that trainer told me it'll change your life. And I thought, why is she making such a claim? I would never do that. But it did change my life. And so significantly. And the second time, and the third time, and I've done it multiple times since, and the advanced class I've done too. And every single time it changes my life. Susan Ellen is here. She was on. She also did Heal Your Life with me from the very first time to now. She's also a teacher. It changed my life so much, and it's this that we're talking about. The more you heal, the better all your relationships become, and this is how you become successful in life. Just think about people in corporate. I never forget, I heard this years ago when I was in my 20s by a very senior person in corporate, and I was in corporate for 20 years. He said, we don't promote people necessarily because they're good at the job. We promote people because it's easy to get on with them. And this is what we're talking about. We're not asking you to be anything other than an easy to get along with person who makes others feel important. That's really it. And that all it really is just becoming a nicer person. All right, so that's the end of the webinar. I hope you got some value out of it, even if it's a few tips, even if it's things you knew but you forgot. I challenge you to practice them all now in the next week with high intention, and just see if you can really, really improve your relationships, all of them, at home, friends, work, family. Go all out and see if you can get out of your comfort zone, be a little bit less selfish, and make it all about them, and see how the relationship changes. Because when it's easier to get on with people, man, life is wonderful. All right. Just to tell you, to close off the year, we have these 2 courses. We were only going to do Love Yourself, Heal Your Life, but the class asked me in my last Silver Method in September, they actually asked me, please, can you do Silver Manifesting again? Because I haven't done it for a few years. We do these courses back to back when I get invited internationally. So I was in Atlanta this year, South Africa. I didn't do Silver Manifesting, but I did Love Yourself, Heal Your Life after Silver. But Manifesting and Heal Your Life is in America every year, Atlanta, Connecticut, and going again, because they're the most 2 complementary programs. So it is now on. This is new. I don't know if anyone knew about it because it wasn't advertised before over the whole year. So if you want to come, this is a 2-day program. It's nothing like the Silver Method 4-day. Every exercise is new. If you've never done the Silver Method, you couldn't pick a better place to start. That's how I started with the Silver Method, was that program. And if you're a Silver graduate, you're going to love that program because you know the Silver Method, you know what it can do for you. And this is purely about manifesting. And why it's so complementary with Love Yourself, Heal Your Life, this is just the most wonderful program. And by the way, there are, I think, only 2 tickets left. We've got 22 tickets sold and we only take 24. There are 2 tickets left on this one. But back to back, many exercises in Silver Manifesting at a deep level of mind. We go in age regression to our imprint phase. We get a lot of information there about our negative beliefs, our inner child wounds, and we actually do a little bit of healing on them as well. We also work out who, I know this sounds a bit crazy, but who in our long ago past wouldn't want us to succeed. And we're not even aware of this, but at a deep level of mind, the answer comes. And very often, it's the last person you'd think. So, for example, Laura Silver, who in her long ago past wouldn't want her to succeed, it was actually Jose. And she loved her dad, and they had a great relationship. But there was something there. So maybe he was the man, he was the guy, so she couldn't really be too creative. So those kind of things that block us from excelling are deep subconscious. Well, we actually bring those to the surface and work on them and transform them in Silver Manifesting. So they are complementary, because even if you learned these tools, you're not going to use them properly if you don't love yourself. You've got to love yourself, and then you'll use it and get the best out of everything in life. Let me just see what's in the chat. Oh, thank you, Christine. And then, so Love Yourself, Heal Your Life is on the 4th and 5th. And remember, if you're a graduate, you only pay half price. And then Silver Manifesting is the 6th and 7th. And if you're a grad, you also pay half price. Okay, this is something I'm very excited about. If you're a parent or you know a parent, we're doing a self-empowered play shop for teenagers. So I'm not going to play the video, but there is a YouTube link here. Maybe I'll actually copy this if I can. Can I? No. But it's on my YouTube channel. You can just look for it. And there's a 6-minute video of me explaining this. This is not like school. This is certainly not therapy. It's a fun play shop to help teenagers with being self-empowered. So all those negative feelings they have about comparison and I'm not good enough, and they struggle with being self-conscious or their validation on the outside, all those sensitive issues that people don't really know how to deal with, or they're difficult to talk, or the kid doesn't want to talk about them. This is the place for them. It's going to be wonderful. The environment's going to be great. No one's going to feel awkward. We absolutely guarantee that. They're going to be at home. They're going to feel wonderful. And they'll leave after 2 days feeling very different about themselves. The greatest gift you can give a child is self-confidence. And not an arrogance type of attitude, a healthy level of self-confidence. Okay, so we're only taking a few. We're not making a big class out of this. And we've got more than half the tickets sold. So if anyone wants this, it's in the school holidays. Please contact us or go to the website. But this is amazing for teens, okay, 12 to 17. And then as for Silver Method, we've got, for the first time ever, first time in 10 years or 9 years of doing Silver, there's a class in Sydney in the school holidays. So if anybody wants to come as a family, I recommend it. Or bring your children, I recommend it. Start your year with success. Get your children to be equipped with all these tools to be able to handle anything for their whole life. This lasts a lifetime. And no matter how much they get out of the course, do not concern yourself, because they can review for free for the rest of their life and reinforce and reinforce. But the sooner they get the tools, the sooner they get more success in their life. Okay, and just to remind you, I do have a 12-week rapid results coaching program. There's about 14 different tools that you work through over the 12 weeks. Other than that, I have these drop-in sessions to release blocks. One is for unknown blocks and one is for a memory associated with a block. Any block, like I've got the terrible fear, or I've never been the same since that thing happened to me, and you want to just release it, or a death that you can't get past, anything of that kind of nature. All right, we're going to meditate now. So what I'd like you to do is keep your pen and paper handy. I am going to ask you some questions, as we always do, just about what you're going to focus on, your intention for the month. I'm going to play some music. And please keep your cameras on, just easier for me to see you and where you're at. And if there are any questions before we begin, you can ask them now. Okay. Are you ready to begin? All right. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. And as you exhale, just relax your body from head to toe. Take another few deep belly breaths. And just relax deeper. Consciously relax your body. Relax your shoulders. We hold tension in our shoulders. And just remain nice and relaxed. You are now in a nice, deep state of relaxation. Continue to breathe deeply, slowly and rhythmically. And now, as you relax, I want you to create in your mind your ideal place of relaxation. It can be real or imagined, somewhere that you've been, or maybe some place you'd like to go. Allow it to be a place where you feel totally relaxed, and just begin to experience this place right now. Now that you've created your ideal place of relaxation, you're going to add a waterfall of white light into the scene. So place it wherever you choose. This waterfall is gentle, allowing you to stand under the cascading white light. The light is a healing energy, a clearing energy. Your waterfall of white light is now created. Walk over to the waterfall and stand under the white healing light, and allow the white light to swirl around you, encompassing you within its glow. Feel it clearing all the stress and tension and clutter of not just this day or this week, but your whole lifetime. Your energy field is clear and clean and clearing. And just notice how much happier you look. And just see how the weights you've been carrying are no longer a burden, and how your energy field is full of love. Now take a deep breath and relax even more. And just remind yourself by repeating mentally that positive thoughts, suggestions and images bring me benefits I desire. Just repeat that. Positive thoughts, suggestions and images bring me benefits I desire. Because positive thoughts give positive outcomes. And repeat mentally after me. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better and better. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind and immune system. And now I want you to imagine that this white light turns to green, beautiful green color. And you are now immersed in this glowing green light. This green light is unconditional love. It surrounds you, it encompasses you. It flows through your entire being. It fills you with love. Love for yourself, love for your family, love for your friends, love for everyone. And any hurts you felt, any pains or angry moments, just allow this green light, this unconditional love to heal those spaces now. You are an amazing human being. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve abundance. And you deserve peace. So it's now time to step out of this waterfall. Your energy field is now clean and clear. You feel calm, relaxed and centered. And now that we've reset your body and mind for the month ahead, it's the last month of the year. So let's set our intention for this month. So I want you to just take for granted that you are tuned in to higher wisdom from your own intuition. And intuition is very quick So just trust your first impressions and write down the first thing that comes to mind. Don't analyze it, just write it down. As you relaxed, I want you to think of this question. What do I need to focus on for the month of December? Just write down the first thing that comes to mind. And just write bullet points, short answers, no long things. And then close your eyes and take a deep breath and go back to the meditation. The next question is, what steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? And then just relax, close your eyes, into your meditation again. Next question is, what do I need to let go of? Maybe it's something we discussed tonight. Maybe it's something else. What do I need to let go of? And the next question is there anything else? Is there anything else I need to know? Is there anything else I need to do? Is there anything else? And just think about the month ahead of you and just see a few things happening that you'd like to see happening easily and effortlessly. And just affirm, I trust myself. And I trust my intuition. And do trust your intuition and always follow it. And then take a nice deep breath. And I'm going to count from 1 to 3. At the count of 3, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine, in perfect health, feeling better than before. 1, 2, 3. Eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine, in perfect health, feeling better than before. Alrighty. Thank you everyone and welcome back. I'll stop the recording here.